The company was Merck, and it was a $5,000 contribution that I had received from them. I raised about $30 million. And if you're saying that I can be bought for $5,000, I'm offended.
In the spotlight tonight, the relationship between pharmaceutical giant Merck and Texas Governor Rick Perry. Perry got in a lot of trouble last night with the Tea Party for his executive order mandating all sixth-grade girls in Texas be given a vaccine for HPV, the sexually transmitted disease linked to cervical cancer. This issue was a minor note in the Republican debate on MSNBC last week, but I did try to explain to our audience after last week's debate that it was going to be a much, much bigger problem for Perry with the Tea Party than what he was saying about Social Security. It got very rough for Perry last night.
We cannot forget that in the midst of this executive order, there was a big drug company that made millions of dollars because of this mandate. We can't deny that.
What are you suggesting?
What I'm saying is that it's wrong for a drug company because the governor's former chief of staff was the chief lobbyist for this drug company. The drug company gave thousands of dollars in political donations to the governor, and this is just flat out wrong. Right. The question is it about life or was it about millions of dollars and potentially billions for a drug company?
All right, I'll let Senator Santorum hold off for a second. You got to respond to that.
Yes, sir. The company was Merck, and it was a $5,000 contribution that I had received from them. I raised about $30 million. And if you're saying that I can be bought for $5,000, I'm offended.
I'm offended for all the little girls and the parents that didn't have a choice. That's what I'm offended for.
Now, I tried to make the point last week that Perry's decision was all about his service to a giant pharmaceutical company, not his concern for protecting women from health threats. But Michelle Bachmann made that point much more effectively than I ever could have. At the time Perry signed the mandate, Merck manufactured the HPV vaccine and was conducting a multi-million-dollar campaign to convince states to make the vaccination mandatory. One of Merck's chief lobbyists was Mike Toomey. As Michelle Bachmann pointed out, before finding employment with Merck, Toomey served as the chief of staff for Governor Perry. NBC News' Michael Isikoff reports that emails show that Toomey's office had repeated contacts with Perry's aides during the drafting of Perry's executive order. Today, Toomey runs Make Us Great Again, a super PAC, a super PAC that has pledged to spend $55 million to support Perry's bid for president. With friends at giant worldwide companies like Merck, $55 million shouldn't be a problem. Joining me now, James Moore, who is co-author of New York Times bestseller Bush's Brain and has been covering Texas politics since 1975. His forthcoming book is, well, I'm just going to do the subtitle of the book, which is Why Rick Perry Will Make America Miss George W. Bush, because the actual title of the book is a questionable use of Spanish that may not pass MSNBC standards. Thank you very, very much for joining me tonight. Sure. We will get the title of your book on our website, but I just haven't run it by NBC
Not a problem,
standards.
Lawrence.
I think you understand.
More people go look for it.
I think you understand. So, Rick Perry says he can't be bought for $5,000. He was lying about that, in that we have specific records indicating that Merck gave him directly a lot more than $5,000. In fact, gave him $6,000, then $16,000, then $7,500, a total of $29,500. So the number that Perry made up as the number that you can't buy me for, that Merck supposedly gave him, is actually a much higher number. He's leaving the question sitting there, how much can he be bought for?
It's pretty funny because if you talk to lobbyists at the Texas Capitol right now, the going rate, everybody says, before you even get into a conversation with his office or his staff, is about $200,000. So he's right. He's a bit pricier than $5,000. It's also it's considerably ironic that this guy runs around saying that he wants to make government as inconsequential in our lives as possible, but to benefit his friend Mike Toomey, he's willing to insert government into the lives of young women, age 11 and 12, and force them and their families to get a vaccine. This is the way it's been in Texas under Rick Perry, Lawrence. What happens is the lobbyists write the legislation, and the legislators read it, and they pass it. And it's been going on that way since he's been governor.
And Mike Toomey, a Merck lobbyist, is running a super PAC for the governor that's going to raise, promising to raise $55 million. That's why super PACs exist, so you can pretend that you can lie and say you're only getting $5,000 from Merck when in fact you're getting $30,000 plus another $300,000 or more that's been detailed that was routed through the Republican Governors Association. These super PACs are set up so you can lie about how much money these lobbying interests are giving you, and this is a classic example of it, isn't it?
Oh, I think so. And Mike is going to be intimately involved. In fact, he's very good friends with Dave Carney, who runs Perry's campaign. I think they even own an island together up off the coast of Maine where they have homes. I mean, these two guys are very close. And Mike has been representing many large corporations in the Texas Capitol while Rick has been governor. And those companies have been getting what they want out of the Texas legislature. The examples that come up over and over are one is Harold Simmons, who is one of Rick Perry's biggest contributors, had been pushing for a nuclear waste dump in West Texas, which people out there defeated several times, but ultimately it got built, and it is being built. And another one is one of his biggest donors has given Rick millions of dollars. Bob Perry, a home builder out of Houston, actually has gotten a board set up under Rick Perry that is to bring complaints about home builders to that board, but nothing ever gets done. It's a way to make the issues go away. That's the way the federal government will work if he's elected.
And Bob Perry and a lot of these other contributors funneled money through the Republican Governors Association when Rick Perry was running that.
Correct.
Too. And James Moore, we're running out of time. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. You're going to be back a lot uncovering Rick Perry, and we'll find out from MSNBC standards whether we can ever say the actual title of your book. The subtitle, though, tells the story. Thanks very much, James.
My pleasure, Lawrence.